We're on the road to nowhere.
This is a sidetrack in my career. Greetings and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. I am Jeff, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
Richard and Michael and I, we're on a trip together. It's a trip to bring this podcast to you, the listener. Each week, we pop that podcast into the back of our car, and we head on into your earphones and deliver it to you. And this week's subject is road trips, and this was suggested by Michael. Why?
I started thinking about like summer vacation, and I started thinking about all of the road trips that I didn't go on as a kid, as my parents held me down, chained me up, locked me into our 2-bedroom apartment, and didn't allow us to go. No, I was just, I was thinking about, hey, I bet a bunch of our listeners are going on a road trip.
Yeah.
And I bet it would be great to see if we could kind of conjoin that with the 1,000-degree weather that we have outside right now.
Hence the air conditioner that you may be able to hear in the background, hopefully.
It's really hot, you guys.
It's really hot.
ACs are a big part of road trips, and we didn't want to have Jeff stick his head out the window and like a dog, just like with his tongue like waggling in the wind.
Richard, did your family go on road trips?
Yeah, we did, although we never really left the state. We did a lot of kind of going out to Pismo Beach for the weekend, which is like, a 2-hour drive for us.
Growing up, I recall one major road trip that we did, and it was up to Bakersfield. It was my dad's huge Oldsmobile.
There's nothing major about a trip to Bakersfield.
And the car broke down on the way up there, and then on the way back, we had to stay in this, stayed in this rat bag, roach motel, and it was like a weird, road trip from hell,
yeah.
But that's the only one that sticks in.
We went on one road trip to. I'm from Kansas City. We went from suburban Kansas City to Sedalia, Missouri, for the Missouri State Fair. And
did you bring cattle with you?
just to show off as part of the 4-H, the urban 4-H club. But looking back, I think my dad might have just been trying to evade my mother or something that weekend. Or Johnny Law was out after him or something like that.
Remember, okay, we're going to the state fair. If anyone pulls us over, remember your name is Bill O'Neill.
Yeah. Well, Michael, it's your choice, and Richard, you go.
I will say I think I have a bit of a competitive advantage here just because I just literally yesterday got back from a road trip.
Oh.
A week in lovely Lake Tahoe.
Oh, wow.
That we drove up.
Did you win Match Game or something like that?
It was a Price is Right, like a showcase showdown. I got a trip to Acapulco coming up in a couple of weeks. And it was about from Los Angeles, we take the 395, which is the back highway behind Yosemite and all that, near the California-Nevada state line.
Okay.
So we take that up and we split it up between 2 days. And then on the way back, we just haul ass down the 5.
Okay.
So stayed in a teepee, by the way.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
You went to a place that had
in
teepees.
San Bernardino.
Did you stay in a teepee or were you just...
No, we stayed in, yeah.
It's kind of neat for about an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, then you wish it was a real hotel.
Then you really wish you had a nice bed instead of like this roll-away cot kind of single bed.
Was it a triangle-shaped bed as well? I don't understand. Is that how these things work?
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, once you're inside, the fun ends. It's just a poorly decorated hotel once you're inside. So we stayed at a teepee motel in San Bernardino, but it was part of like a kind of a retro rockabilly weekend kind of thing.
Was Charles Phoenix there?
Charles Phoenix,
of course
it was Charles
there.
Phoenix.
Of course
thing.
he was there.
And there was it was very novel.
Yeah, we stayed. It was at an RV park in Olancha.
I bet it was great for the kids, right?
Kids were. It was like 11 o'clock by the time we got there, so the kids were dead tired.
Is it true?
And then I forgot my CPAP machine and had spent about 2 hours contemplating driving the 3 hours back to Los Angeles to pick it up to go back again.
Oh, my God.
Wow. So, yeah, it kind of cut a little bit of the fun out of it.
The check-in thing where you have to go get your key from the manager, then go chase the Native Americans out of the teepee.
Right.
And then go send them to some other land where they then get to live. That part was weird.
So my
road trips.
So my first choice is road trip music mixes.
Sure. Yeah. Also on my list.
Is it good?
Wow.
Because,
a little bit, but go ahead. You start yours.
Oh, sure. No. Well, this was especially true in the days before Spotify, just streaming music in general. where you could just tell your phone to play any song you want to, pretty much in the world, including Bob Seger. Pretty excited to see that Bob Seger is now on Spotify.
Yeah.
I actually saw a billboard on the way over here with them announcing this giant, Seger streaming. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. That's about what it's worth.
Yeah.
It's still the same, though, guys.
Okay.
Anybody?
Hello? Still the same.
Hello.
I think Bob Seger is fine. I don't get like the whole why everyone is so excited that he's on Spotify. I don't use Spotify. I use Apple Music, and I assume that he's on there if I wanted to listen to Bob Seger.
No, I think it was all the streaming ones. I think it was the first time he'd been available, streaming Seger, except for Seegcast. I think you could that was like a 24/7 Seeg service. Didn't go over too well, but I guess the point is before Spotify, Apple Music, etc. When, like I said, literally you can say, Google, play whatever song you want to hear. Yeah. You had to sit down and think about what songs you wanted. And that's particularly true before, iPods.
Sure.
Where you had to physically bring cassette tape or whatever CDs you want to listen to. Mm-hmm. And if you picked something and you decided you didn't like it, you could be stuck with that for quite a while.
Yeah.
So it was really important to get the right mix of stuff that you would bring, especially for me. A lot of my road trips wind up kind of college, post-college. It was my wife and I, and then usually one or two other people. So you really had to balance what you liked plus what was palatable to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So again, the hours of screeching John Zorn would, while great for me for driving, may not be appropriate for everybody.
Yeah. What do you do so now that you have this streaming thing where it could be a Spotify mix that's randomized or something, right. Now you're kind of in control of the theme or the general genre, but Spotify is the DJ, so they can take the blame too when you get a sour note.
Well, partially that, or you can just, as you go, just pick a song and say, oh, I'd like to hear, Love Shack by the B-52s.
Yeah.
Okay, Google, play Love Shack.
Yeah.
Okay, boop, 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 boop. And then it starts playing.
Official sound of Google Play.
It really is.
Richard has always been really good at searching for things, too. I'm getting suspicious here.
What? What are you suspicious of?
You're Google, aren't you?
What are you trying to ask? Boop, 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 boop.
You always also have ads where you try to sell me things, too.
That's true. But I think it's just the point that you don't have to put any thought into it ahead of time. You can kind of just, whatever you feel like at the moment.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets away from the whole idea of kind of like a road trip mix.
Yeah.
I mean, mix CDs, mixtapes, or something future generations really aren't going to understand. Not in the same way. I mean, making a mix on Spotify or Apple Music or something.
It's not the same.
Not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess the other thing for me is there would be stretches where you would just get into something. I know for one trip we took to New Mexico, Sarah and I were both really into Johnny Cash at the time, and we had like I think it was a three disc box set. It was like,
jeez, it's too much cash.
A lot of cash.
You were so close to saying 3-disc box.
I really was.
I was so excited.
You should see Jeff's like, oh,
drool back into my mouth.
So it was like a 3-disc box set. It was like called, I think, Love, God, and Murder, and we must have played that thing 20 times on that trip. Probably didn't need to hear it for about a year after that, but burned ourselves out of Johnny Cash for a while.
So is your statement of the music accompanying road trips is a big responsibility, and it's a big part of the experience, and it can be a challenging part of the experience?
It can be challenging, but it can also be incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
When you hit on something that everybody loves, when you've got a good groove going with that, so to speak, pardon the pun, you wind up, I think it winds up adding to the communal nature of a road trip, especially when you're going with larger groups of people.
It's the soundtrack to your adventure.
It is literally the soundtrack.
So music is also on my list, and I have two road trip stories. The first one is a couple years ago, Emily and I went to Iceland for our honeymoon, and not knowing what our rental car situation is, we were driving around the entire island, and it's a week. It takes a week to drive around it. So I made sure that I had my iPhone loaded up with not only whole albums, whole albums that would be good to listen to all the way through without having to skip around, but then also made like mix CDs. But then at the same time, I made mix CDs to take with us because I didn't know if our rental car would have like an auxiliary jack or like a USB.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. So I had to go like be double prepared for this, 10-day trip around a country that we didn't know. And it was really fun to do, and I recommend The War on Drugs, Lost in a Dream, if you want a good hour-ish like good road album.
Okay.
All the way through. My second story. About 8-9 years ago, a bunch of friends went to Arizona for this thing called Flabongo Bowl.
Oh boy. There are some stories to be told about Flabongo Bowl, by the way.
Most of my road trip selections this week focus on this one particular trip because it kind of hit on all parts of it. But driving out, I was driving in my car with my friends Sean and Jacob.
Were you there with former show guest Scott Jones? Was he driving with you?
He wasn't. He was in another car, and we'll address that later.
Michael is recently a father and is clearly reeling in the years right now, going back to those moments that weekend at the college.
So we were driving, and or I was driving, and Sean was in the passenger seat, and he was in charge of music. And that's a big responsibility if you're the person that's putting in CDs, you're the person that's plugging in your phone to listen to music. Like Richard said, you kind of really have to find that good key spot. Man, I did not need to listen to that much Led Zeppelin.
A lot of Led Zeppelin that Sean likes.
And Velvet Revolver. And then suddenly it switched to like stand-up comedy. Like someone was streaming that, or Jacob had it or something. And it was just like one of those where it was like, okay, well, I'm driving. I can't really tell my guests that knock it off with the music. So I think there is this tremendous weight to whoever is sitting there to just get it right, especially when it's like a 10-hour drive.
Their personality is being judged too. It's kind of almost the hot dish that they're bringing to the potluck of that experience. And if you don't like the flavor of it, they got nothing to offer. Okay, we both chose the music aspect of road trips. And Richard, what would your second choice be?
Second choice would be car problems.
Oh, okay.
Which is something that I have a tendency to run into.
Oh, wow.
On our especially our annual Tahoe road trip.
You got 99 problems in a car.
And usually an alternator or timing belt is one.
Oh, no.
No, it's usually the last few trips have been the type of things that are frustrating and make you nervous and kind of like make the trip less relaxing.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So this year it was a check engine light that came on in one of the two cars we brought up because my father-in-law drove up the other car. And comes to us I think the day before we were getting ready to head back. Oh, check engine light came on. Okay. What was going on with it? I don't know.
Classic.
So
car doesn't know either.
Yeah. So I didn't get to spend the next day and a half trying to figure out, okay, is this something that's, is the engine going to explode on the way back or is it fine? Turns out it was like, I ran the, you can run the diagnostic code with a reader.
Oh.
And it's like a gas cap. Must have been loose at one point. One of those sort of things.
So do you have one of those? I was going to suggest that as like a good like pre-road trip thing is those new things that you can just plug in.
A friend of mine did. So I just went over like this morning and
that's great.
Read it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have like new devices that you can plug in and it kind of tells you everything about it's basically like a consumer version of whatever
they have at the shop. Yeah.
Wow.
And that they actually even have them now that you can plug it in to your phone port.
Is that right?
Wow, it works that way too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can see
the future's here.
Mechanics hate him.
Oh yeah.
Ad.
Oh, I love it. And so it's funny about that because you get the code and then you have to go on Google and look, okay, what does this code mean for a 2009 Mazda 5?
Yeah.
So there's that element of like real danger attached to it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
All right, what's it going to be? Was this going to be a quick fix or $1,000?
Well, these devices now too. I mean, your daughter's a few years away from driving.
Thank God.
And they have like aspects of like controlling your car. Like you plug these things in and it kind of links to an app.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It can tell you where they've driven You can set parameters on like you can't drive further away than like
Holy crap.
12 miles. You can see exactly what they're doing when they're in that super dangerous, I'm just going to go drive, or I'm going to go.
Oh, wow.
Although your daughter's very, very respectable. She's like,
Yeah, she's like the least likely
She's
kid
like the
to
one
do
you-
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah, but
She's been to every library in Los Angeles.
I told her to only go to the one. God damn it. Yeah, and I think they actually have an app where you can actually insert the soul of your mother into your car. So it's called the Van Dyke app.
The Van Dyke, Jerry Van Dyke.
So I've had that. I've had batteries that have like gone out twice, like two separate batteries. Battery died, went down, got another battery. That battery died like a day and a half later. Turned out there's some sort of like short in the, I don't know what it was. It was like the AC system that was like shorting everything else out.
How do you
Flat
feel?
tires, just crap like that,
Is it a kind of moment where your dad card feels like it's getting kind of yanked from your hand there? Kind of like,
Well, you do a lot of that sort of open up the hood. And I know something about cars. I'm not a complete like idiot about cars, but I'm not, Mr. Goodwrench either. So there's a lot of
in England, the trunk is called the boot.
So there's a lot of,
That's what I know.
yeah, good job. So there's a lot of like opening it up with like a friend of mine who's there on the trip who knows a little bit more and kind of just staring at it and go, well,
Yep.
it's not the radiator. I don't see it leaking.
You know what my move is? It's that when you just wiggle that one thing back and forth.
That's a good one. That's a
See
power
if
move.
see if that's loose or not.
You had a car problem on the way back from a road trip once, if I believe.
Yeah. We were driving back from a different kickball tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I fully explained what Flabongo Bowl is, but I'll get into that a little later.
Yeah.
But we were driving back. It was me and our friends Justin and Kelly and Emily from a Las Vegas kickball tournament, and coming back from Vegas. And my car started overheating, and then we eventually broke down in Rancho Cucamonga, which is like on the Mount Rushmore of goofy cities at Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, we had Pismo earlier.
Pismo, Albuquerque. Rancho Cucamonga.
We broke down and then had to have my car towed all the way, like using AAA. Like the four of us in the cab of this AAA tow truck.
Yeah.
Plus, all of our stuff was in the car, and it's a nightmare when the radiator cap like blew off, and then we tried to cool it down, and then it did it again, and it was just like, this is not going in.
And you feel like such a cliche.
Yeah.
Just the guy on the side of the road waiting for AAA.
Yeah.
And I should point out, car problems would also, I think, extend to, and I'm just tangentially, I don't know if this is a pick. I don't think it is. But just running out of gas or almost running out of gas or having an eighth of a tank left and looking up and seeing the sign that says next service is 57 miles and trying to do the math in your head about like, okay, so I have a 12-gallon tank and last time I got about this many miles and how fucked am I in this?
You know what really usually throws you off on the road trip version of that, though, is you're used to driving alone to work, and you know that you can get 13 more miles when it gets down to that.
On E, yeah.
But then once you add 3 more people in there and a few hundred more pounds of weight and like bags and stuff, that 13 miles probably drops down to 10, and then you're just like, oh man, and you're in the middle of the desert and you don't know what the next stop is.
Then you're in then the new cars tell you pretty much how many miles you've got left. So there's the always exciting like 57 miles to the next, gas station. You're and then it thinks up. Estimated range 54 miles. Fuck. Okay, guys, we're gonna do this.
You're gonna start drafting behind a big rig.
So I see a big rig there. We're just gonna get right behind it. I watch a lot of NASCAR. I know how this works, boys. Just get in there. Okay, guys, I need you to duck your heads aerodynamically. It's gonna be a little bit better. And then we're gonna take all the luggage. We're gonna put it on the side of the road. we can come back and get it later after we got a full tank of gas.
Strip all the chrome off the exterior of the car.
Exactly.
Okay, Michael, you're up.
Look, I know we just started this podcast, but guys, I gotta go pee.
Oh, the one guy's got to pee.
Guys, we can't stop the podcast
keep
now.
going.
We just
I know,
passed
I know.
a stop.
Wait.
I know, but I didn't have to go then.
Can it wait?
I gotta go now.
I got a bottle for you if you need to.
This happened on the way to Flabongo Bowl. It didn't happen in my car though. This happened to our good friend Scott Jones.
I think I can guess who it was.
Flabongo Bowl seems like a straight to DVD experience.
It was basically 30 friends from LA drove out to Arizona to meet some other friends that drove up from, I think they were in Arizona already, but some of them had become friends the previous summer at a kickball tournament and decided to have a big thing. And at the time, a couple of our friends were really getting into flamingo-shaped beer bongs.
Yeah.
So we have friends that kind of get into things that will become a thing that lasts for
Wizard Sticks.
3 months. Wizard Sticks is a good one. Actually, a kickball team name that I came up with was the Zizix Wizard Sticks.
After the road.
Actually, I think it was the Zizix Mystic Wizard Sticks, all with Y's and Z's and X's that I never got to do. But anyway, so they created this phony tournament, which ended up just being going out, driving to Arizona and drinking and playing kickball in the intense heat. And our good friend Scott Jones, who was on the podcast, was in a car with...
Friend. But go on.
This guy we know, Scott Jones, was in a car with 3 other people. And one of them, this guy by the name of Jay, he's your typical 42-year-old stoner skateboarder guy. He was the guy that was stopping... that had to stop every 45 minutes to pee and drove everyone crazy, and was also drinking a giant big gulp the entire time. Yeah. He was just like exasperating it.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing to get to a pit stop and be like, no, I'm fine. And then to have that thing kick in 10 minutes later when you're like, well, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really got to go now. And it's like, it's not necessarily your fault, but it's kind of your fault.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did I ever tell you about PMath, Richard?
What group is that? Is that it? I think I saw them open for
They're really good.
Did they have the UFO, Mouse, yeah. The UFO that comes down?
PMath is my theory that the closer you get to a place that you know you have to pee, the more you have to pee increases exponentially. And it doesn't matter how fast you're going. It's just the destination. So you could pick up the pace and try to get to a bathroom. It's not going to help you because it's just going to it's just like a. But I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
I wouldn't doubt you on that. And by the way, dad advice. This will happen to you about 1,000 times over the next 20 years or however long.
Yeah.
And it's also fun when you get I have to pee. It's too late. Immediately followed by it's too late. Uh-oh. And then you had to figure out, okay, how much did you pee? Do we have clean clothes in the back? Do we have a towel for this car seat?
So Sarah will do that?
Well, she's got a bladder condition. It's not nice to joke about. And that is one of the good things about having a boy versus a girl. Like you got the boy and he's got to take a leak. You can pull over the side of the road. When we did this, the first time we did this with Simon was at a Dodgers game.
Yeah.
Game was over.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, walked out. He was probably like 3 at the time. Yeah, left the stadium, 5-minute walk to the car. As soon as we get to the car, I have to pee and I can't hold it. It's like we were just inside a giant baseball stadium with as many bathrooms as you could want. So we're like, you know what? I'm going to open the door. They give you a little bit of a shield and just pee on the tires.
And now he's a registered sex offender.
But it was funny because for a couple of months after that, he would ask to pee. He was excited about the prospect of peeing on the car tires. And we kind of had to tell him, no, that's not normal. We don't do this all the time. Don't follow daddy's lead just because dad does it all the time.
If I do this, I won't go to college. Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Good to me.
Okay, I think we're at halftime. And we're halfway there to the end of our road trip. It's really, really, I'm really excited, guys, because we're most of the halfway there. And our eyes are a little bit fuzzy from the road. It's been a long trip. We're all getting a little bit anxious.
Jeff, you need me to take over? You good?
No, I'm good. I'm kind of just, but we love for you listeners to ride along with us. I hope you maybe even playing this in the car on a road trip, on a destination somewhere fun. And when you pull over to a safe spot where you could get your iPhone and download more of us, or go onto Facebook and interact with us by leaving your suggestions for other topics that we can discuss, or leaving your comments on the topics we have discussed, that would be great. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Rushmore Pod, at Mount Rushmore Pod on those things. And so, guys, back in the car. We're going.
Here we go.
Bye, Richard. Bye.
All right, guys.
Okay,
wait,
bye, Richard.
Hey, guys. All right.
Oh, all right, but okay, I'm reverse. All right, we're back in the vehicle. Richard, your third choice. Isn't it? Didn't we do halftime and then it's Michael's pick, so it's yours?
Guys, I'm asleep in
Richard!
the back. Oh,
wake up, Richard. We're there.
Oh, shit.
Are we there yet?
So my third choice are shitty food choices.
Oh, yeah.
Either food choices that this could mean either being in a location where you have no good food choices.
Right.
So you have to make the best of a bad situation.
That's a hip hop band from
not best of a bad situation.
Another bad situation.
And I do remember this from a kickball tournament we went to. You, the Ficklins again, and then Cammie, our friend. And I know we stopped in, I don't know, Victorville or some crap place to go. Sorry, Victorville. Crap place to go get food. And poor Cammie is a vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't even eat pasta. It's rough.
It's a hard life.
If you see the videos of how pasta is raised.
And I didn't know this. And like, I know I really wanted to go to Long John Silver's because I have this weird like affection, even though I know it's like garbage food.
Yeah.
That and Yoshinori are the two places that I eat against my like better judgment.
Yeah.
And there's like one right next to it. And I was like, oh, we can go to Long John Silver's. And I was like, no, fuck off. Rightfully so, by the way. That's absolutely the right call. So we wound up at Carl's Jr. and poor Cammie trying to figure out what she could eat at Carl's Jr. Kind of rough.
Yeah.
So you have those options where it's like if you got a long stretch where you've got nothing but fast food, and God knows if it's even decent fast food.
Yeah.
You see that Arby's after about 250 miles, and it's like, I probably won't get diarrhea from it.
It is a gamble, too, because you might stop at that one place that's got a Stuckey's or some kind of Cracker Barrel, and then the next stop is Mecca. You know, they got the Starbucks and 4 different places.
Oh, I think meant Cracker Barrel as the Mecca. Sorry.
Cracker Barrel is the stronghold of Christianity out on the road. Certainly Mecca would not be prayed to as Cracker Barrel.
Then you've got Waffle House, the white trash cousin of Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
What I like about food on road trips is the inevitable planning of like, okay, we're going to load up on snacks.
Yeah.
And so you load up 100% you're getting beef jerky. Yeah. You have some sort of chips. You try to make some sort of like goofy appeasement to like eating healthy, and you're like, here's 3 apples that are in this bag that we're going to forget about and not get eaten.
The floorboard of the car is going to smell like apple pie when the
apple rolls under and gets caught under like the brake pad, and you go careening off the road.
Yeah, that was the other bad food choices that I had come to that could fit into this category. It's just the idea of you are going to eat like crap. Either you're going to eat out of gas stations for the most part, and you're just going to eat like crap for a couple of days and just kind of gotta go with the flow. Mm-hmm. For example, this was not a road trip thing, but I got here a little early before recording the podcast and killed some time at the 99-cent only store, which is on the Mount Rushmore of places to kill some time.
Yeah.
And I bought these like French fry chips. You ever seen those things? They're like the French fries, but they look like French fries, but they're actually like just crisp potatoes. Yeah. And I was really excited to eat it and just try it. And I ate it. I was like, oh, so In-N-Out fries? Imagine those going cold and then sitting out for about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then take away the salt. Yeah, that's about right.
That's about right.
So sometimes you make those, I guess I bring that up just because you make those choices sometimes like, I'm going to try something different. I've never seen this before. It must be a regional thing.
Yeah.
And you try it and it's like, this is garbage. But it's the only thing I have to snack on for the next 150 miles.
I noticed some things at gas stations on the road where you see like a sesame bar, like the sesame seed bar. Did you ever see that? It looks like the sesame, I don't know what the heck it is, but it's like, there's always 5-hour energy drink, which I've never tried. And then next to it, there's like, it's like a little brick made out of sesame seeds, like you get on your burger bun or something.
Are you stopping at like Petco's or something instead? I'm a little concerned about where you're stopping.
Are you sure this isn't a trap that Wile E. Coyote laid down for the Roadrunner? Is there a giant cage on top of it, like right above your head?
When do you occasionally drive and then just hit a wall because someone had painted a tunnel?
Using one can with multiple colors. Okay, I guess I'm wrong. All right, so Michael, what's your next choice?
My next choice is car games. The inevitable trying to break up the conversation that you don't want to have by interacting with someone on something usually pretty mindless and something easy to get into that just involves kind of looking around or whatever. Growing up, we played Punch Bug a lot.
Oh.
I think it goes by Punch Buggy or Slug Bug. Me and my sister Vanessa used to play that pretty much solid. Like that was the only game that we played as a kid. The only place that was off limits was the VW repair shop on the corner of Riverside and Colfax.
Oh, so these could be local trips to the grocery store.
Yeah, we'd play
all
the time.
Okay.
So there's one spot that was just like, we'd be driving to Bob's Big Boy, and it was like, you can use anything else but that place.
Then the rules are when you see a Volkswagen Bug,
yes,
one may punch the other.
One of the older style. I don't think it really translates. It doesn't feel right for the new Bugs.
Yeah.
The new VW Beetles or whatever. It feels like, oh, well, they're commonplace. They, growing up in the 80s, they were still around, but I guess they were still pretty dominant, but they weren't as, now you rarely see one.
Yeah.
But, any sort of like road game, maybe like an I Spy or like an alphabet game.
Slug Bug.
Yeah. Same thing as Punch Bug.
So your family didn't have...
then you slug somebody.
You didn't have
Don't punch them, you slug them.
You slug them.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
You didn't have the chessboard on the dashboard where you play like a high-stakes game of chess?
With like magnets.
The Kasparov, Gary Kasparov and his family going through.
I don't think we ever did those. Like those weird, like crappy travel games that's just a tiny version that kind of suck and that you'd lose them in the car.
Yeah.
Oh,
where's the king and like three of the pawns and the bishop's missing?
Or the Uno deck that's the travel size deck that's about like 2 inches by like 5 inches.
We had travel jarts. You had to like throw these little spikes across the back seat. Okay, travel games.
Emily and I play a game. My wife and I play a game.
Oh boy,
that's called.
And then you have a baby.
It's called Juke Alert.
Oh.
You know the Nissan Juke, the car that kind of looks like a robot frog, or kind of looks like a tennis shoe. Look for it. It's a stupid. Okay. It's an awful looking car. It's really stupid looking. Like it looks.
When we were looking for cars this last time, we laughed at the Juke.
And I love this car, and I hated it at the same time.
And I owned 2 PT Cruisers at one point. So just so you know.
It's a car that just kind of has a weird angle at the top that you can't really sit in the back seat if you're taller than 5'2".
Oh,
it kind of angles back, and it looks like a big shoe. But we play this game that's basically a new version of Punch Bug, which is just Juke Alert, where we just kind of yell it and yell the color and then curse the other person out. One time though, Emily got into a little bit of trouble. She was in Austin, Texas for like a girls' weekend, and she was drunk, and she said Juke Alert, and the Uber driver thought she said Jew Alert.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
And she had to explain the game, and I don't think it really went over by the end. Once you're trying to what I really meant.
Who knew rabbis drove?
I think
Ubers.
The fun thing about road trip games or car games is that it kind of like playing Monopoly. There are like house rules.
Right.
And there's different ways of like that people have just like augmented.
Yeah.
Playing the license plate game or like I Spy or whatever over the years.
There's a custom family rules for those.
Yes,
things.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Richard, you're third.
My fourth.
Okay, Richard, you're fourth.
All right, so my fourth one is the guy who smokes.
Oh.
Having been the guy who smokes for a good chunk of my field trips or road trips and field trips. Field trips. Yes, when I was in elementary school. I kept having to pull over, get a pack of those candy Lucky Stripes.
We're in a museum. Stop blowing smoke onto the dinosaur bones.
I got a candy cigar from like my stepmom.
Yeah.
For having a baby.
You did?
Really?
Yeah, just like last week.
What do you do with that?
I don't know. We threw it away. I don't know. I'm not chewing a big chunk.
It's gum. Yeah.
It's just gum that's just, it hurts after a while. It's like the old
baseball gum.
Baseball card gum.
You save it till the kid turns 18, and then you have him chew it. It's a rite of passage.
I do like the idea of you walking around chewing on. Daddy, that guy's chewing his cigar.
Why is it lit on fire?
Why is it lit on fire?
Turns into this molten pink thing that just like melts down and burns your
It
teeth.
seems like the guy who smokes is related to the guy who pees, and you need to stop for them.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because I smoked until late 20s. Sometimes, a lot of times, I would just smoke in the car.
Oh, okay.
So I was the guy who was rolling down the window. If I was driving, I felt like I had rights. It was my car.
Yeah.
I smoked in my car. So if you were in the car, you didn't like it, tough titties.
Yeah.
To some extent. I mean, I would be polite enough if somebody said, hey, do you mind? But most of the time, people kind of, I think it would get weird because it's like, you don't want to be the person to tell somebody,
Right.
don't smoke in your own car.
Were you an ashtray guy, or were you trying to burn down our national
I was
forest guy?
I was an ashtray guy.
Okay.
I mean, I still probably burned down a couple of forests just by embers kind of flowing to and fro. But yeah, and in hindsight, that guy was a real jerk.
Oh,
My
Richard,
God.
this is so much personal evolution. This is really cool to hear, because you also said something earlier where you said you're an asshole earlier, or maybe that's just how I took it.
Yeah, every week.
Every
pretty
week.
much, I say something like that.
Hi, Jeff. What an asshole.
What a fucking asshole. Hey, how's it going? You wound up having to spend a lot of your drive time thinking about how many cigarettes you had left.
Oh.
And make stops based on, we don't really need to stop, but I'm out of cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Or let me pull over because I don't want to smoke in this car. And I smoked 2 to 2.5 packs a day.
Oh, wow.
Like I don't do things by half measures.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a smoker. And so, yeah, it was like every 20, 30 minutes, another cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what that was like for people that were traveling with me.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been fucking awful, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
You know what the thing about it, though? Smoking's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you feel pretty good when you're doing it.
Yeah.
What used to drive my wife, Sarah, nutty was when I would smoke in the summer. Like, especially we'd go on a road trip and it's 95 degrees outside. And I'm rolling down the window and smoking, or smoking out, taking a break at the gas station to smoke. And she was like, how can you do this? It's so hot I can barely breathe. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting smoke into your lungs and then trying to breathe through that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, I'm addicted. What do you want?
Yeah. Did you see that commercial where Yul Brynner said, please smoke. Always smoke. I do not regret the fact that I
I
smoked.
think what he said was, I'm dying and I wish I could still smoke.
Oh, okay. I read it wrong.
The last thing I need is one more pack of cigarettes. Please, before I die, smoke for me.
Smoke for me. When I die, it is up to you, America, to smoke. Michael, we're pulling into the driveway after a long road trip. We're back home, but we're not quite home yet.
We got one more stop,
We got one more stop.
and that is the roadside attraction.
Oh.
Ooh.
That is the place that is dotted along the American highway.
This place is so lame. Do you have to talk about it?
Listen, these are these giant fiberglass dinosaurs that aren't that don't
Oh, the Cabazon ones?
the Cabazon dinosaurs. They don't necessarily. They look kind of like dinosaurs, but I bet your daughter Vivian a few years ago would have corrected them for their posture and the number of teeth.
Are those the ones that were built by the creationists?
Yeah, by Claude Bell.
Yeah.
We stopped on the way back from Flabonga Bowl, me and Jacob and Sean, and by this time the invalid Scott Jones, who had twisted his knee and did not want to ride back in the car with the P guy. He squeezed into the car, all four of us, and on the way back, we stopped at the Cabazon dinosaurs to, I guess, get a bite at the crappy cafe that's attached, and to take
Is
pictures.
this on the way to Palm Springs? Is it
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I believe it's a Ruby Tuesdays.
Is it now?
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
But we were on the way back from Arizona, and it just seemed natural. Like, okay, well, we've been driving this long, we might as well take an hour, 45 minutes to just take some stupid pictures.
Yeah.
But these roadside attractions in America are kind of like a weird highlight of like road trips. They're either like giant donuts or things that people have built, or just like, the four corners of four states that meet, that you can stand in all four states at once if you, with your family and whatever. And they always feel very distinctly American and very distinctly like not necessarily your destination on a road trip, but as a point of interest that you're just like, I got to hit that. This thing is so close, this goofy whatever it is, that we can add half an hour to our trip, take some pictures, get some local color, and then move along.
Let's see what's in the Let's Go guide. Do you remember the Let's Go guides? Like every time we took a road trip, you had to buy these 500-page mini Bibles basically on whatever area you were going to, and as along with giving you kind of the cheapest non-rapey murdery hotel to stay at. Yeah, it was always full of the while you're driving, make sure you stop at the world's largest ball of twine or whatever it was. Yeah,
House on the Cliff.
Yeah, something like that. And Jeff, I would imagine in the Northwest or in the Midwest, there were a lot of those kind of random touristy sort of things.
Every town was trying to put itself on the map and become a tourist stop by erecting a Paul Bunyan statue or largest ball of twine, or the larger than the other guy's largest ball of twine, or largest ball of barbed wire, or a promontory, or you could the tallest point in this area, because I'm from Kansas.
So it's about 240 feet.
Vertical feet. There were, since I grew up pretty much on the plains, it's just one flat thing for 2 days straight. So there was not much to see, or not much to be attracted to unless you made it yourself. So yeah, definitely.
There's a book by Neil Gaiman, which is now a TV series, American Gods.
Yep.
And roadside attractions feature prominently as like these little pillars of I don't know, not quite prayer, but like these little American iconic things that try to attract attention and this new kind of
These are our equivalent of like the Burning Man that we put up and we put out there for.
They're the new Stonehenge, but it's a giant donut.
Oh, that's awesome. So,
I should point out my hometown of Kingsburg tried to do something like this.
Now, I am sick of you turning this into your own Lake Wobegon. Every time we do this thing, you breathe into the mic.
Welcome to Kingsburg, where all the children are stupid.
The end.
It's been a quiet week in Kingsburg. My hometown.
Let me sing a song about it. No, they erected a giant Swedish coffee pot as a water tower.
Okay.
They took our water tower and they turned it into what they said was a Swedish coffee pot, which was basically a coffee pot with like a dollar horse drawn on the side. It's like if you took it to
you fools, it was Finnish.
Oh my God.
It's like if you just took someone from IKEA and said, "What do you think a Swedish? If you're at IKEA, what would a Swedish coffee pot look like?" They just used that as the model. And the only tourist I ever know who ever actually was drawn in specifically because of that was Johnny Cash.
Oh,
was
really?
driving from probably San Francisco to LA for a show or something back in the 80s. Saw the coffee pot and insisted that they pull the tour bus off so he could see what it was.
Wow.
So he was the most disappointed Johnny Cash has probably ever been in his life. Was pulling over. I used to joke around with my mom that's probably when he was still on drugs and wanted to make sure it wasn't some sort of weird hallucination that he was seeing this giant coffee pot just sort of up in the middle of the
sober
the road.
Up, Johnny. Sober up. Drink coffee.
What's that coffee pot doing?
Well, this was a fun trip, and I was happy to go on it with these guys. A lot of fun, a commentary on what I know it's not an uniquely American thing, as Michael talks about going on a road trip in Iceland, and so, but it certainly is part of Americana, that's for sure. So that was a real neat exploration. What I found is fascinating is the idea of this trip and going on it, and the concept that you can never really come home, that you are changed by the journey. And I always am fascinated by at least what I believe to be the differences between your guys' choices. I feel like, Michael, your journey was really kind of outward and about social interaction with those people around you, with the environment around you, with the roadside attractions around you, and things that kind of govern the rules of when you stop and when you don't, and the social part. And Richard, I felt like your journey was inward with the responsibilities of the dad who takes his family on the road. It seems like the mixes and who's accountable for the mixes, the car problems and who's accountable for the car problems, and then the idea of body as filter, because you're making these shitty food choices about what goes into your body, and then smoking and how that's kind of going into your body. So
I don't want you going on any more road trips, Richard. You're going to die.
Concerned.
Whether the car's going off the road or you're going to smoke a cigarette and it's going to
just
blow up the car.
Yeah.
Or choke on some turkey, like a turkey jerky.
Jerky's going to go down the wrong way.
But I'll give you both a point for the importance of music, because it definitely is that soundtrack to the experience of the road trip. And if I think of the front windshield of that car as this kind of cinerama movie screen of the trip, then that dashboard and the music that you play coming through it is definitely the soundtrack to that experience. So that was really neat. So a point each for that. And Michael, I think you really kind of earned your point definitely with talking about the CDs and stuff like that, and the culpability of the person who's made those. And Richard talking about the evolution of the mixed tape and the mixed CD and how we will never really go back to those days. Michael, I got to give you a point for the theme, not necessarily the choices of it, but the theme of Flamingo Bowl. I feel like that's your screenplay. Maybe that's your novel. Maybe that's your straight to DVD movie that's going to star an ensemble of hot, nubile young people, and maybe I can get the cast as the mean cop who follows them through the trip.
That trip, I also drank a lukewarm Sam Adams out of a coffee pot for no reason.
I believe this was also
Just
right.
make bad choices on every road trip.
Was this around the time when Smirnoff icing people was a thing?
What is that?
Let's say I think it was.
Might have been 6 months to a year before that really caught on.
Yeah, but we were at the vanguard
of
that in kickball back in 2007, 9, whenever that was.
2009.
And Richard, you get a point for the Sturm und Drang and drama and pathos of dad with broken down car. This
sad dad.
This sad dad. This is kind of a Samuel Beckett type thing that I can just see you perennially looking over this engine, just going, huh.
Instead of waiting for Godot, it's waiting for the goddamn AAA.
Yeah, waiting for the toe. So I hope you are listeners out maybe on a summer road trip. Maybe it's a short one just to the store. Maybe it's a long one across country. But thanks for listening and letting us go with you on this journey. I have always been Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.
Honk, honk.